been at the prompting not so much of my mother as of my mother-in-law, Hankey, who was herself a distinguished archaeologist and had come across him quite independently. My mother had therefore given me everything relevant to him, and I had used those letters as the basis for a biography. But the question remained, what about the rest, dauntingly untidy and unsorted? Unless we made a bonfire of them, there was nothing for it but to carry them off to my house, my penalty for writing about the archaeologist, and stuff them away there. Over the coming years, there they sat, a growing reproach, until I turned them into a second book, this time largely about the women my mother had so often talked of. Then I put everything away and stopped thinking about them. But there remained at the back of my mind one stubborn and silent bundle. These were the letters that my father had written to my mother during the war. My reaction to them when I had first found them in one of her drawers is perhaps difficult to understand now. My heart had not leapt. The Second World War, the experiences of those who lived through it, the vanishing number of its veterans, are now subjects of great interest. But we, as children, born in and soon after the war, had not been brought up to think in this way. It was not that the war was unmentionable. It was just that our parents didn't speak of it much. My father hardly ever. My mother would tell us a few things, but between themselves they did not reminisce. Those who did were called war bores. So I had not pounced on Tony's wartime letters with a sense of excitement and discovery. In fact, I had given an inward groan. I was reluctant to embark on yet another journey. I took them home and half forgot them. My parents died within a few years of each other around the millennium, and a decade or so later, when my sister was approaching her 70th birthday, I wanted to write something for her about her birth and early childhood. I turned to my father's bundle to see what I could find, opening the letters at about the right dates, dipping and skipping, and not always understanding what I was reading. Still, I found myself more interested, more moved even, than I had expected. The letters were a surprise. I realized that I hadn't really known my father. Time passed. I thought I had done with family history, but it wasn't so easy. There were obstinate things among those wartime letters that wouldn't lie down, and among other wartime letters too, the ones my mother wrote to her brother. In them, she had spoken of my father and of their courtship and marriage in a way that had surprised me. Perhaps, after all, I hadn't really known her either. It was no good, this stuffing away and half forgetting. I fished them out, and Tony's too, and began reading. This time I was caught, and having already pushed the door ajar for my sister, I couldn't resist giving it a proper shove and walking through. Chapter 1. Those Golden Autumn Days. When my parents first met in the autumn of 1939, Zippa was 25 and Tony was 21, fresh out of King's College, Cambridge, that very summer. For him, Zippa was simply the most beautiful, graceful, poetic thing that had ever happened to him. It was a coup de foudre, overwhelming for them both. "He is a most passionate boy," Zippa told her brother, Alurid, then with his regiment in India. "So vital and young. And he loves me so generously that I sometimes wonder whether women can ever know anything about love at all. In fact, it made her nervous. I feel very tenderly towards him, and so hope I never hurt him." Tony was a surprise. He stopped her in her tracks. As it happened, he was very good-looking, fine-featured, athletic. But he didn't invade her heart. Not at first. They had met at Chelsea Town Hall on the King's Road, just around the corner from where they both lived, she in Oakley Street and he in Oakley Gardens. They might have passed each other in the street 100 times already and never known it. Now they were at the town hall to volunteer as blackout.